Hey YouTube, it's Big Air here. We're just gonna do a quick how-to on how to change your oil on a 20 horse Mercury 4-stroke. This is a 2013 with electric start, and yeah, so we're just gonna do a quick oil change, and then I'm gonna do the gear oil change as well. And for this, though, you need basically a 5/8 wrench to unhook this bolt here. You're gonna need your oil. I use the Quicksilver 4-stroke 10W30 oil, and this is a washer here to replace for that bolt that you undo there. And then you need your oil filter. This is the oil filter by Quicksilver as well. And for those of you that have manuals, I mean, it's really good to follow your manual. So the first step is to heat up your motor. Let it run for about 5-10 minutes or so, to make sure that it's warm when you go to drain the oil. Took my cowl off to make it easier to get the oil filter and stuff. Next thing you got to do is tilt your motor up and then loosen this off and basically drain your oil. Okay, so the next step after the initial has been drained, temporarily install the drain plug, which I did there. Disengage the tilt lock and lower the outboard. Basically lower it back down to the lower position. Okay, and then I'm going to wait a few minutes and make sure all the oil that's trapped in the engine basically down to it will go down to the bottom part of the drain there. And then I'll basically lift the motor up one more time and drain the remaining oil. The next step after that will be your oil filter, which is located here on this side. You can see I changed it in March of 2017. So basically you're going to pull this little rubber thing off, so your terminals, and pull it off and pull it out of the way, and then you're going to stick a rag underneath there, and then take off the oil filter while it's in the down position. One thing to check for is to make sure that your oil isn't all milky and there's no water in there. My oil is pretty good. You can see it's actually still got quite a bit of color to it. It's more like a red tinge, so it's looking like it I only let it run for one season. It's good to change your oil at the beginning of the season or at the very end of the season. This time I chose to do it at the very beginning of the season, same as I did last year. So just getting it ready for the boating season. So on the second drain there, like when you tilt it up for the second time, definitely quite a bit of oil comes out afterwards, so you gotta make sure you get most of the oil out so you don't overfill it. You get your washer, you lubricate it. This is what the old one looked like. Not too bad, but for the $1 that it cost, to replace, definitely get it from your outboard shop, and we'll just replace it every time you do your oil change. So the next step is to leave it in this position here. As you can see, I moved the starter solenoid, and it'll be the oil filter that's next. So I got the oil filter off. Holy cow, was that on there pretty good. They tightened it up real good. I had to get a screwdriver and hammer some holes into it and twist it off. The wrench that I had doesn't work properly, and it's quite a tight space. There is some fixes on YouTube. We get the wrench and drill some screws in it, but I didn't have that wrench, so it came off though. Next step is to put a little bit of oil on this seal here, and then put the oil filter on. You can see there's a nice little film on there now of oil. The next will be to install it back into the hole here. Just screws right on. Really simple. You don't have to do it super tight. You just have to do it tight enough that you think it won't leak anymore. I like to do it just tight enough that I think the manual says that's 3/4 of a turn once it gets tight, and yeah, I do it hand tight. I think this is good enough. Go back together. I got it as tight as I could get it. It's not coming off there. You're just gonna have to watch for leaks in the first couple times you use it. Make sure it's not leaking. And if it does, then you have to get buy a wrench, I guess, and tighten it. But most air oil filters recommended just hand tight as tight as possible, obviously, but they do get seized on there if you do them too tight. So this is where the oil goes. This one says recommended Mercury 4-stroke oil. They're 10W30, or you could go with synthetic, which is 2540. This is its only second oil change on this motor, so I'm probably just going to do the 10W30 for now. Maybe get a couple more break-ins and I'll switch over to a synthetic. But I'm just going to use that. This is where you put the oil in. This is where you check your oil. Basically you want to fill it up to, it's only going to take, looks like 1 liter of oil. So you just got to fill it up to, there's a couple hash marks in there. It's just in between the hash marks. Okay, put the full 1 liter of oil. What I'm going to do now is put the screw back in, fire it up. I'm not going to do the gear oil change today. I don't have time, so I might have to do the gear oil coming up before the first change of the season. I'm just going to fire it up, check the oil, and it should be done. Okay, so I fired it up. Let it warm up a little bit, and you make sure you use your water earmuff and running it. We checked it before. It was in between the hash marks like it was supposed to. Just want to make sure we're not leaking any oil right underneath here. If it's going to leak, that's where it's going to leak. Let it warm up. Okay, so I'm going to check the oil. I did add a little bit more oil than a liter, probably about another 200 or 300 milliliters of oil because of the oil filter being changed as well. And this just pulls out. It's hard to do with one hand, but as you can see, if it's in between those two hash marks, which it is, that's where you basically want it. So it's always good to check your oil every time you use it. I mean, if it's burning oil or if it's leaking oil, it's important to catch it before you run out of oil. So anyways, I'm going to do another video on how to change the gear oil down there right there. But for now, that's how you change an oil. Change the oil on a Mercury 20 horse 4-stroke along with the oil filter. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to comment below. Like or share this video, and definitely subscribe to my channel. I'm going to have a few more videos in regards to some maintenance to this motor coming up, but yeah, thanks for watching.